This is Believe in Buckeyes. I'm Brian Browning with All-American quarterback Chimdi Chekwa. 13-10, man. Didn't go our way. How you feeling over there?
Frustrated, man. I mean, I'm frustrated. Four in a row, which honestly, I couldn't even imagine that this could even be possible. And in a year where, going into the year, coaches like Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel are saying like this may be one of the best rosters ever. And at the same time, your rival seems like they're down. Right? They don't have a quarterback. They're struggling. They're barely, even over 500. This was the year to begin to really right the ship and start to take off, and they don't get it done, and it's really unacceptable. So we'll get into it, but
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think. Obviously, it's when it comes down to it just really doesn't make a lot of sense. It's unacceptable on a lot of levels. Doesn't make a ton of sense. Us having this roster, I think essentially what we're like number 2 in the nation. I know obviously you throw out records and all that stuff when it comes to this game, but like you say, man, we check a lot of boxes as a football team. We check a lot of boxes, man. And to go out there and score 10 points, 10 points.
10 points.
For Ryan Day's offense, Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, who's in the mix of this well, like their offense, 10 points. You play this game essentially in my opinion, to the strengths of Michigan, like the one way that they could possibly beat us. You lean into it. The one way, the easiest way to beat them, what makes them, like you say, coming to this game close to 500 team is spreading them out and attacking in that fashion, and we don't do it. We don't get it. We don't get it. We don't get to those plays for whatever reason. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
4 in a row to the losing to the team on North doesn't make a lot of sense. It hurts, man.
Yeah, and let's be clear now. So this is 4 in a row. This was Michigan's down year. I don't know what happens in terms of the sanctions for, the cheating and the stealing plays or whatever, the sign stealing. But understand this. Aside from that, Michigan is going to be back up. This was the year to bury them and continue to build. This actually gave them life. They got some more money coming in. They're gonna, they're gonna continue to build back up, coming off of a national championship, having a down year, and having a new coach, and that coach understanding what he needs to do moving forward to be good. And we gave him some added life. But I want to kind of recap the game a little bit because, I didn't want to do this pod early, like right after the game, because I wanted to remove some of the emotion and really identify, okay, what happened in this game? Like, what really happened? So I had to kind of go back through highlights and clips and just kind of look and see. There's been a lot of talk about, the approach on offense and, the lack of spreading guys out, continuing to run into the strength of Michigan's defense, which was their interior defensive line. And I didn't, in terms of the amount of times they ran the ball up the middle, I don't think I have a problem with it. I think, you're a team that ultimately is good at everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You have to be able to stay balanced. You have to consistently at least attack or at least keep the defense honest, because they're going to have too high shells. They're going to try to cover your deep passing game, etc. My biggest issue throughout the game is that the creativity in the passing game was lacking.
Yeah.
And in the opportunities that you had to go win the game, it lacked the most. And that's what was concerning. When you touch the red zone, when you touch the shot zone, which is like that 35 to 25 yard line, where there's still enough space to stretch the field, right? But when you do attack deep, it's a touchdown. When you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith, this is what people need to understand. Like for those who haven't played football or those who haven't played defense, or a defensive back. Let me get it really good. Let me lock in on defensive backs. We are not consciously, but subconsciously, we are afraid of guys like Jeremiah Smith when you touch that shot zone, when you touch that 35, 30-yard line, because he has the size to go up and get the ball, and he has the athleticism, the body control, and the ability to adjust to the ball. That type of pressure is tough. When you don't even attack us, like when you don't even use that tool in the toolbox, you give us an advantage defensively. Because now, even if you continue to inch closer and closer towards the end zone, now the field shrinks more and more. And now we as defensive backs don't have to worry about you going up top. There's a back line in the end zone that's going to protect us. We don't need a safety to protect us anymore. We can play underneath that stuff. But they just did not have the creativity to create those matchup plays where we got Jeremiah Smith, we got Emeka Ibuka, and if you're gonna try to stay up top, we got a guy who can run the routes and make those plays. They did it a little bit, but
it's puzzling, man. It's puzzling on where that was at. I mean, like you was kind of, I guess, really saying and hinting at, like, man, that is what Coach Day do, man. Right? Like we over the years, like, you know, we look at Chip Kelly and how he was able to run the ball at Oregon in a certain fashion, and then another type of fashion at UCLA. We figure we'd kind of get some of that. We know how good our running backs are. Travion Henderson and Chris Hines. We know how good these guys are. So yeah, we need to try to kind of, you know, stay with the run game and don't completely abandon it. I could second that. I feel like the approach there was a little off. I liked more things we was going to do on the outside edge compared to in the middle, because, I mean, just look at the strength. Michigan has essentially a first rounder and two NFL guys right in the middle. If you're looking at our offense, where we have our least amount of experiences in the middle of our offensive line, but I don't think they played bad by no means that could cause us to lose this game. So if I'm running the ball, for like outside stuff work. I mean, we hit on the option earlier for about 10, 15 yards, and we never got back to it again. We never, you know, kind of was a real threat with running the ball with Will Howard. Obviously, he took a hit early. You kind of went away from it. Yeah. But Coach Day has always been able to call, like you say, that shot play. Always. We're looking at any big game that we was in, right? The Michigan game in the past when we were scoring points. The Georgia game, the playoff game, right? When we was able to beat a Clemson team. That's what Coach Day does. Like, that's like his claim to fame. Like, he gets to that shot zone area and he's able to hit. He's able to draw something up. Maybe it's a unique. Maybe it's a little funky. He hits on it, and boom, we're scoring points and we're feeling good. And this past Saturday, it wasn't a part of the game. It like I don't know. Like, maybe they was waiting for the fifth quarter to call it, but like it just never came up.
That's who he is. Like, that's who he is. Like, the one of our biggest criticisms over the time he's been head coach is just the detailed stuff, and some of that stuff showed up, missed field goals, etc. And being able to lock in these big games and hit those detailed things. And other criticism is just being able to consistently be able to run the ball, be tough, all that stuff. The defense was another criticism, right? All those things I feel like were fixed over time, right? We finally got a run game this year that has been consistent throughout the year. We finally got the defense figured out to balance that aggression versus making sure you're not giving up the deep plays, etc. And they play well. The most concerning thing to me in this game is that the one thing that Ryan Day is best at, we weren't able to actually do. And to me, it just makes me feel like we just overthink it, right? Because, you know, when you talk about talent, we got Jeremiah Smith, we got all these. Talent only is effective if you run the plays that actually allow that talent to shine, right?
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith didn't get any targets that I saw in the second half. All right.
No,
I didn't see him get any targets. Right. Like, you have to put those guys, and I'm telling you, on defense, I don't care if you put two guys on them. I don't care if you run in a cover two. You run a double move or something, you're gonna get him matched up one-on-one. You're gonna get a one-on-one ball in the air. He has to go make a play. We have to expose that in these types of situations, and it's concerning. And I really want to paint the picture of where I saw a big contrast between Indiana and Michigan, and which shows me that the mindset was different. Indiana, the strength of Indiana's defense was their ability to stop the run, their defensive line, etc. Right? We weren't getting a ton of rush yards versus Indiana early on. We threw the ball. There was a lot of space. They was playing that zone. We attacked, throwing the ball. It was successful. But one of the key plays in that game, which made me know that they're confident against Indiana, like this game is over with. They had a 3rd and 25. A 3rd and 25. On Indiana's part of the field, kind of in that zone where it may be a little bit too far to kick a field goal, but you're close to field goal range. They throw it for 15 yards without hesitation. 4th and 10, they go for it on 4th and 10. They get the first down. That let me know that okay, the coaches are confident. They don't believe Indiana can hang with them. You don't go for a 4th and 10 in that situation, but they did because they knew that they can get it. Michigan game. Caleb Downs catches a pick. All right, we throw a pick. Caleb Downs catches a pick, sets us right back up. It's sudden change now. Michigan's defense has to run back on the field. You run the ball. You run the ball, which the run wasn't terrible, but it's like sudden change. The defense has to rush on the field.
Right.
Go right at them. They're not prepared for a guy like Jeremiah Smith. Then you run the ball again. Now it's 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10. Right? Yep. You're on their side of the field. You're right there in the red zone. You're right there. And you do a draw play. And guess who makes the play on defense? Michigan's best defensive player.
Right. Michigan's best, right. Mason Graham, right.
The contrast between, because the game plan to me is similar. Throw the ball a little bit more on 1st and 2nd down versus Indiana. Same thing versus Michigan, loosen this team up. The contrast to me was those two situations going into being able to score. It showed me that they play a little bit more tight versus Michigan. And that's the issue, man. To me, that's the issue right there.
I feel like basically, like I said, we lost 4 in a row, and each time it's a real, like, it's a different way, right? First is running the ball, right? And they run for, 1,000 yards that day, and we can't stop the run. And everything happens. We change our defense around. We play to stop the run. We get to the next game, and it's big plays, right? Michigan hitting big plays. They're scoring touchdowns. Not really putting drives together, right? They're hitting bombs down the field, and they hit one with the running back, boom, big play. And then the next game we come back, and then what? It's the quarterback is not sufficient enough to get the job done with Will McCord, and now we're kind of bouncing around, and everything falls on his shoulder, and he's not there. And then now this game is what the offense is way too conservative. Like we're not a Ryan Day team anymore. It just kind of looked like, I don't know. Tressel was in the building. Maybe he was trying to be Tressel. I don't know. Like he never had a Tressel team, but now he wanted to play Tressel ball in a situation like this. And it's like, it just really comes down to the point that, I mean, it's just going to sound crazy. I hate to say it out loud, but Ryan Day is incapable of winning this game. He's incapable, man. It's true at this point. Like, if you can't win this game with this roster, and listen, and we even brought up the fact that Michigan had 2 first-rounders, almost guaranteed lock-in first-rounders not playing. And Will Johnson and Loveland, their tight end, missed the game completely. They're not even there. They're not even playing. They ain't get to the game and get hurt. Like, they're not there. Like, right? And we can't figure out a way to score more than 10 points to win this game. At no point in time, I feel like at any point in time, if we ever had to lead in this game, if we would obviously missed a couple field goals that should have been made, obviously he wasn't in the right mental capacity to make kicks. I think before this game, he might have been 100% within 40 yards, 2 kicks of 30-some yards, misses them both badly. Not like he just Dean went off the post. He wasn't even close.
Yeah, he misses them both. And you know, one thing that's funny, this is aside from football, this in life in general. It's like sometimes when you don't do what you know you need to do, everything goes wrong, right? Yeah. It's like anything that can go wrong goes wrong, because realistically, if he makes those field goals, we probably have a different discussion. We probably have a different conversation here. If Will Howard hits on one of those wide open passes, the one that was a pick, we probably having a different discussion. Mm-hmm. But none of that matters, because you have to go win. You have to do the things that you do to win the game, to eliminate all doubt. And if it's almost like the universe is reminding you, like, hey, if you're gonna be timid, if you're not gonna do the things you know how to do, then you're gonna leave it up to chance. And chances, Jay Fielder missing some field goals, and then boom, you lose again.
Right. At any point, though, if any point we get a lead in that game, 3 points, 6 points, 7 points, I feel like that the pressure now is on Michigan. They know their offense is not up to par, and our defense. We never put the pressure on them. We never grabbed that lead. I mean, 10 points from Ryan Day's offense is just really kind of unheard of. I was looking at it. We only had 3 points in the bowl game against Missouri, but we know, what happened there. We didn't practice. We spent all our time trying to get guys back. Quarterback get hurt early. We got a guy, true freshman playing. A lot of factors kind of went into that. But we're a healthy team. Other than a couple of people's pieces on the offensive line, we're a pretty healthy team. And to score 10 points, it's
a good point. We never put the pressure on them. I just imagine that day after losing this game is trying to find answers, right? And some of those answers that he gets are, if to beat Michigan, got to win the rush, got to win the turnover battle, right? These are good answers. Like these are the right answers, but you got to put it within the context of the actual situation. How do you win the rushing versus a team like Michigan who cannot throw the ball? Well, defensively, you stop the rush. Right? You start with that. You stop the rushing, and then you put up points. And now they can't keep running the ball because they got to do what?
They got to
score.
Get back in the game.
They got to get back in the game. And what can you do on the other side? You can run the ball. You can run the ball. Versus Indiana, they threw the ball first and second down. They threw the ball. They attacked. They won the rushing at the end of the day because guess what? Indiana got to throw the ball, and you can continue. So I feel like, it's a little bit of overthinking this, and it's a little bit of getting away from who you are, right? Yeah. Going a little bit too far trying to fix issues. The issues have been fixed. I like the Chip Kelly. I still like the Chip Kelly hire as offensive coordinator. Yeah. I thought in terms of running the ball this season, he's done a good job of getting together running the ball, which is great. This is where, and the defense has gotten together. This is where Ryan Day, as the head coach, can now put his stamp on the game and say, okay, we can run it, but hey, Chip, we need three or four explosive passes. Draw them up. We need to draw up some plays to blow this game. We're at home. This is the craziest thing about it is so the crowd at some point started booing when they ran the ball.
That third and 10 before we missed that field goal. It was boo birds in the air for sure.
This is what I love about fans because, a lot of times we say fans don't understand football. They don't understand. But as people, you just kind of understand what's happening sometimes. Like, you don't have to be an expert in football to know, like, hey, y'all need to take a shot. Like, what is we doing? Like, what I'm saying? There's a 7-year-old in the stands saying, boo, like we gotta attack these guys. And unfortunately, when you don't go win the game, the Michigan game is the one game where you for sure at some point have to play to win. Yeah. Because there's so much stuff that can happen between guys. There's so much emotion. You have to lock in and play to win. The players got to feel like, okay, we're playing to win so that we're all pulling in the same direction. It was a struggle. But I think the question here is because people will want to hear from us.
It's time to talk about it. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What should Ohio State do with Ryan Day?
I'm gonna be blunt, man. So Ryan Day is now 1-4 against Michigan. I think in the Big Ten, this is some crazy stuff. He only has, other than the Michigan game, he only has one loss, I believe, to a Big Ten team, and that was obviously earlier this season against Oregon. Won them all, right? This is the first time I believe he's lost to a team that wasn't ranked, right? That was the first time he lost to a team that wasn't essentially, ranked in the top 25 at the time of playing. My opinion is, get Coach Day away from the Michigan game, man. Get him away from the Michigan game, man. So he coaches 11 games of the season. Week 12, he goes on vacation. We bring in Coach Tress, Vrabel. You bring in Urban. You let those guys handle the week of preparation, and we go out, we play, we win the game, man. We got to get Coach Day away from the Michigan game, man. We got to get him away from it. I'm done. What's your thought?
So I don't think that's possible. So I like Ryan Day. I've been openly and honest about. I like how transparent he is, but because of his transparency, you kind of can feel what he's feeling. You kind of can see. I think, to me, in my opinion, you can see what he's going through. He struggles with Michigan. I mean, he struggles with some of the decision making in this game, and in terms of what they should do, I'm thinking about it big picture.
Okay,
it's a financial decision. I don't know what the buyout is, but there's a buyout, right? There's also
I've seen online it's about $37 million.
It's a significant amount. I think he's on the hot seat. So I think if I'm the AD, I say, look, you're 60-something and 10 or something crazy, crazy good record. But as a school, we got to go to our donors and others. We got to get our fans excited, and the passion, the emotion is in this specific game, and we have not been able to get over the hump. So I would say for him, and I think he knows this, you have to make a run in the playoffs. You just have to. Unfortunately, that's an unfortunate situation that you put yourself in, but we're talking about a team that is as good as any team, and probably constructed better than any team in college football. You have to prove that you can lead a team like that. If not, then unfortunately, because we haven't been able to get over the hump, you have to look in a different direction.
Well, I will say this. I know the AD was a Ross Brock, however you want to pronounce his last name there. He has already put out a statement in support of Coach Day, basically saying, that, he's our guy. We support him type of situation. Makes sense, right? You don't want Coach Day feeling that heat and leaving the job and kind of picture us in that Alabama situation, right? So, there's always guys out there. I mean, obviously, since this is happening, you start thinking about guys who's possibly capable of stepping in. Obviously, you always talk about the old coaches coming back. Obviously, that's really kind of unrealistic. Urban's not coming back. Tressel's not coming back to coach the team. But you start thinking about fresher names that we know coach Freeman out of Notre Dame, Mike Vrabel's available. Blank on his name. I think it's Coach Campbell out of Iowa State, who's a Ohio guy who always been successful running the Toledo program and also at Iowa State as well. For some guys that are Ohio guys that could possibly step into that role. I'm not under the impression to let them go, but I do feel like you state, like we need to show that, hey, we put together this monster roster here, all this NIL money that money could buy, and now we lost the Oregon game, we have lost to Michigan again. You better be able to show that you have control of this team, and you go in the playoffs and you make you have these guys playing out of their minds again, making big plays, being explosive the way we know they could be. If you want to continue to keep life here nice and easy here in Columbus, man, because at this point, I think he's the only coach to ever lose 4 in a row. I think last time we lost 4 in a row was like 7. It was like in the 70s, 80s, or something.
Did Cooper didn't lose like 4 or 5?
I don't think he did. I think that was I think Coach Bruce lost 3, as in Cooper came in and lost the next one. So that was the 4 in a row. It wasn't 4 straight. I don't believe. I had to check into it, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on that. But he's really like, you're in the history books for some for some bad stuff, man. You got Michigan feeling like they could really play with us at any time and win, where it hasn't been that way in quite a long time.
And this one, it was so egregious just because of the lopsidedness in terms of the the spread and all that. I know you want to throw the records out and all that stuff, but it's just clearly it was a better football team in Ohio State. Clearly this year more so than the other years. I think he's on the hot seat, and I think he understands that. Right? He understands. He feels that, and it's going to require him. And I honestly, I feel like he coaches a much better game in a playoff situation than versus this one. In every situation.
Every situation.
Every single situation.
He's incapable of winning this game.
and it's so unfortunate, man. But
it's so unfortunate. But
I don't expect to see that type of offensive approach in the playoff, in a playoff setting. And I think I think we see what a potential, what Ohio State, like we've seen all year, what an Ohio State offense can do. And I don't know if Will Howard was hurt, but the one thing about it, after he came back in the game, offense was a little bit conservative. But right before halftime, they ran a 2-minute drill, went down and scored a touchdown. He looked good.
You're good.
So
So I mean, I guess we kind of got to speak about this as well. As Will Howard's performance, right? I mean, obviously we brought him in because he was a dual threat at running, and be frank, we haven't seen it a ton, right? And we kind of understood why, right? Like, it's not needed against these guys, right? I feel like against Michigan, it could have been helpful, right? Him actually being, making some plays with his feet, and obviously he takes a hit early. I mean, it was a nice clean hit. So if you like football, right. If it was a nice football, that was a nice football hit right there, and it kind of definitely rung his bell. Obviously, got him out the game here for at least a play. But to be honest, man, I just feel like I got to say this here is like the karma of the situation, right? I mean, like we play Indiana, and obviously we're Ohio State. I expect no matter how good of a season Indiana is having,
right.
I expect us to go out and handle business against Indiana, right? And obviously Indiana was undefeated. They had the sound bites from the coaches. The players didn't really do much, but they had the sound bites from the coaches from essentially since he had the job leading up to the game. And after, once we kind of got control of the game, like, we're doing a little lot on the sidelines, right? And we're stumping out cigarette butts for the Signetti, and we was talking about Google Me and all those things of that nature. And I don't know, man. To me, sports has a karma, man. And obviously, we scored a late touchdown as well, right? The QB sneak after Travion that obviously was trying to end the game by sliding. And then the next week, like, we're doing all this against an Indiana team. And then we come back out and we lay an egg, right? And the karma of the situation is like, bro, we are expected to be, no matter what's going on, we are expected to be Indiana. Right now, we can't figure out this Michigan game. So in my mind, we should have been like, we're going to nip this in the bud. We're going to put Indiana behind us and get ready for this game. And then that's when we're going to do all the celebrating against the team that's been celebrating against us and planting flags on our field and sound bites from the previous regime on our what we could do here at Ohio State. And obviously, you got a guy from the same regime still running the ranks there. I don't know. A little bit of karma in that situation, man, for sure.
Yeah,
when it comes to Will Howard's performance in the game.
He definitely, and he had his worst game as a Buckeye. He did not have a good game at all. And, this transfer quarterback is a new thing, right? This is the first time we've kind of had that situation, 1 year quarterback. And playing in that Michigan game, I don't know that he knew the level of intensity, right? I mean, he's been riding high. He's been playing good. Against Oregon, we lost, but he played good against Oregon.
He played well.
Overall, he played well. We beat Penn State. Indiana's hyped up the top 5 team. You beat Indiana. He plays really well. This is the week before. I don't know that he truly knew the atmosphere or at least the intensity, a Michigan team was going to bring in this type of rivalry game. They're going to be locked in. They're going to be hitting you. They're going to be disguising coverages. They're going to execute defensively well. They may not be a great team. You may have thought, we beat Indiana, who's undefeated. We're playing this other team who's no. This is you have to lock in. You have to match the same level of emotion. You have to match the same level of focus, just to level the playing field, and then you can allow the talent to take over. So I don't know. I know he said everything right in the press conference.
Everything right, and I think he's a great leader. But
I don't know that he was truly mentally ready for that game, because I know the week before Michigan, it didn't matter who we play. We play, St. Carmen, Ohio, whatever. All right, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. This is something that we've been talking about for a year. It's here now. Everything else is shut out. Now I'm locked in, and we're making steps to go play that game. Yeah. So I don't know. He could have been shaken up from that hit the rest of the game, because I felt like some of those plays were a little bit uncharacteristic of him in terms of accuracy. But to that point though, man, you got to speak about our seniors, man. Like, right, these guys are 0-4. I seen a
a clip today that for that class. So we're talking about the guys that 4-year class: Travion Henderson, JT, Jack Sawyer, Emeka Ibuka, Quinn Ewers is a part of that class. Donovan Jackson. He got 6 guys, right? That was in the top 11, not the top 100. 6 guys that was in the top 11 of that class, the 21 class, and they go 0-4 against Michigan. No gold pens, no Big Ten title, and obviously this was a lot of. Obviously, there was some other factors involved as well, but one of the huge factors was, trying to right that ship. And you just feel for those guys, man. Another year that they, Frank, they just don't get it done. Want to talk about Jack Sawyer, man. Obviously, we know, Frank, the fighting at the end of the game once Michigan tries to attempt to plant that flag again. And obviously, Jack was out big out there. He was able to get his hand on one of those flags, and he ripped him down. Big kudos to him, man, and being able to do that. Obviously, going out there and playing his heart out. What do you think about the fighting, man?
Yeah, the fighting was a must. I mean, if look, I know there's this talk. Okay, you should have fought during the game. You should have whatever. All right,
we fought during the game.
They fought during the game. Just because you lost doesn't mean you didn't fight.
Don't mean we didn't fight. We fought during that game. We fought during that game. Yes.
But you can't continue to disrespect me post game. It's just not allowed. Not in my home. Not in my home. Like if you get into a fight and you lose a fight, and that same person comes into your home and disrespects you, it's gonna be
sit down at the dinner table and like, yeah, mom, let me get that plate. Like, nah, bro, we fighting again. All right,
it's gonna be a fight. So I like that Jack Sawyer was adamant. Like, well, I'm not allowing them to do this in our home, and I mean that's just the reality. And I saw a tweet by Kirk Herbstreit.
Horrible tweet. Oh god,
didn't make any sense, right?
No sense at all.
Go watch the film and suspend everybody who was aggressive. No, if you want to get rid of the fighting, don't allow the opposing team, the visiting team, to go disrespect the other team in their home. Don't allow them to plant flags, tear up the whatever the symbol is in the middle of the field, et cetera. Because it wasn't just Ohio State. NC State, North Carolina had the same situation. Florida State, Florida had the same situation. It's happening all over college football. And if you go plant the flag in the middle of your opponent's field, you know to expect a fight. Let's be real. Like, you know exactly what you're doing, and you know to expect a fight. Simple as that.
And obviously we talking about the Michigan game, but Michigan beats, I don't know who are they beat. They beat Northwestern on their home field. They don't go plant a flag in the middle of the end, right? It's a rivalry game, and you bring that. And I feel for our guys because this happened 2 years ago, and Buckeye Nation, Buckeye alumni was talking. What's going on? We lost the game, but we don't let them plant the flag. Exactly. And at the time, it was a little bit different because if you recall, the team was gone. They mostly was up the locker room when it took place. But it's still, man, we run it down the tunnel. We ain't allowing it. This, that, and the third type of mindset when it kind of took it place much further. And this time they tried to do it. Hey, we still out here.
Why they was out?
We're protecting our Blocko. You guys won the game. Celebrate as a team. Celebrate with your fans. Going to like that's what we do when we win in the big house, right? Usually, we celebrate with our friends. Back in the day, you win that game, you go to the Rose Bowl, we got the roses, we celebrate with our guys, we celebrate in the locker room. We're not in the middle of the field trying to rip up the M. No, you know what I mean? We win with some class. And obviously it hurts that we lost the game. It's unfortunate that we lost the game, a game that we definitely should win. But if we got to fight now because they want to do extra stuff, I'm all for it. I think the Big Ten fined them. I think $100K each school. Great. I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to see any players suspended for that situation. I'm not trying to see anything extra than that. Put out a rule that you banning it or something of the sort. If you want to do that, fine, do that. But we got to do what we do because, we had a hell of a season, right? And we came up short. We still got season going on. And we got to keep that mindset and cohesiveness that we don't allow little silly stuff like this to tear us apart. We messed up the game. We blew it, right? Yeah. We blew the game. but we're not going to blow this situation because we're still here and we're still those same guys. We're still Buckeyes, and this is our field. Like,
What do you think about Ohio State's chances of winning a national championship?
I think we got a good chance here, and I say that just off our roster, man. We laid the egg here, right? And obviously, one thing we can always say about Coach Day is that, like I said, he loses game different ways every time, and it's very upsetting. But he does learn from the mistakes that he's made typically. So, Coach Day has a lot to prove. His team has a lot to prove. I mean, obviously they had a lot of goals set at the beginning of the season, and now they have, due to that loss, they have missed someone, right? They no longer get to be Big Ten champions. They no longer have, could say that they beat the Wolverines, but they still got one big one, national championship, which obviously is always the main goal of any season, especially here around Ohio State. We have a playoff. We're going to get opportunity. We've done enough this season to get the opportunity, no matter where we land. Whether it's a home game, away game, no matter who we have played, we're capable. We know it might not be the ideal situation, but we have the guys, we have the roster to get it done. And so we have to play with our hair on fire, man, and go out there and take it to guys and get the job done. Go on that run that we know we're capable of doing and getting it done. What's your thought? Do you still believe in the Ryan Day system enough to be a national champion?
So, very directly, I feel like he has to be who he is. And, you learn lessons and losses, but you got to learn the right lesson. You fix the issues, but the things that work for you, you got to continue to do it. Versus Oregon, I thought offensively they had a good game plan. Everything didn't go perfect. Oregon was a good football team, but offensively, I thought their approach to the game was the right approach. Versus Indiana, I thought offensively their approach to the game was the right approach. Versus Georgia in that playoff game with C.J. Stroud, I thought the approach to the game was the right approach in that situation. I wish they would have been a little bit more aggressive at the end to not have such a long field goal. Versus Michigan, the approach to the game was not the right approach. And that's the lesson that he needs to carry forward. Is like you've solved some of the challenges. We need a consistent run game. We need better structure in how we run the ball and what we do consistently. We had a lot of shuffling on the offensive line, but we still had enough structure that we've been able to overcome it. Defensively, we need to be more aggressive and a little bit more attacking. Yeah, we might have some pass interferences here. We may have some missed tackles here. It's not going to be perfect. But overall, Our defense is locked in, and they're going to make plays. It's time for Ryan Day to put his stamp. Now it's time for you to be who you are and put your stamp on the game. And when it comes time to win the game, create those winning plays. Create that winning mindset. Go attack and make things happen. If he can stay consistent in his identity, this team can be a national champion. Mm-hmm. But if he can stay consistent, not tighten up when it's time to make it happen, and that's what it's going to take. So I know it's to be determined.
Yeah, one thing I would say for sure, because I got to shout out our defense. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, we only ran 3 plays, which obviously is not enough. We got Michigan had a drive, we stop them. Jack Sawyer makes that interception. We go 3 and out, give them the ball back, and essentially we don't get it again due to a mistake made. I don't know who fault it was. I don't know. Somebody made a mistake. Obviously, it was horrible timing for it, and it cost us an opportunity to even get that shot of getting the ball back right and a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
But our defense went out there and gave up 10 points off of like 4 yards, right? You're like, Will Howard throws the interception. They return to the 2. Eventually, I think it was I think we stopped them at least first down. But eventually they get those 2 yards and score a touchdown. And then we have a short punt, right? Great field position for them. The defense essentially gets a 3 and out, and the kicker hits a 54-yard field goal. Yep. And that gives them 10 points off about 4 yards. I mean, that's outstanding. Then obviously Michigan hit on some things in the fourth quarter. And yeah, right, it didn't end all the way well. But our defense played, they was stopped, man. They played another fantastic game. So we got to bring that with us. I think we kind of got it figured out ever since that Oregon game. it's been really lights out against our defense. I think it's still this thought of like first drive, they get a drive off on us, and after that, boom, we kind of click in, and then everything our defense does essentially right and aggressive, and they make you fight for every inch from there. So just keep that going. Coach Day, Coach Kelly, get it back together, right? Let's just be the anomaly of the season, this 10-point game against Michigan. Run it up, make a run at it, and make us proud, for this 24th season with this roster and this group of guys that we have a shot here at, winning it all. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, we got to make it happen.
Got to make it happen. But that's our show, man. It ran a little long, but we'll get it together, man. And obviously we'll be tuning in for the championship weekend here. A lot of good games here to catch on. Placing any bets that SEC game. What is that? Texas versus Georgia. I mean, bet online. That might be an opportunity.
Is it spread out? I don't know what the spread is, I like betting on the SEC games. I like betting on the SEC games. I'm betting about 80% SEC games this year. So that's something I'm gonna look into. But Bet Online is your top source for all things betting, all things sports betting.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. So we're gonna end the show as we always, because we as always, like Jack Sawyer at the end of the game in the middle of the field. We're a proud folk bunch, man. We're gonna end this like we always do with an OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks, and we'll catch you guys here soon.
Go Bucks.